you guys gave us a good example about standing firm in God.
Before we go there, can I go to another scripture?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's in 2 Corinthians chapter 10.
Go ahead.
And verse 4. And it reads, "For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds."
Okay. Listen to what it says. The weapon of our warfare is not what?
Carnal.
Carnal. That's the first thing we got to understand. And we got to what? It's a pulling down of what?
Strongholds.
Strongholds. Strongholds are something that have you in such a state that you can't really you can't really do what you really want to do. God is calling you to walk in righteousness, but the stronghold keeps you walking the other way. That's why it's called a stronghold. That's why it's called a stronghold. Okay. But he said we're supposed to cast down that. We can't cast that down unless we have on the whole armor of God. Let's look at something else right quick. The breastplate and the helmet. The breastplate protects the heart. The helmet protects the what? Brain. These are two important, very vital, important parts of the body that you have to protect. Okay, how do we actually do this? Well, first of all, if we're gonna protect it, we got to make sure that we be careful about what we allow to go into our heart, into our spirit.
That's right.
Okay, that's the heart of man, the brain. All this is the heart of man. We got to protect that. We can't let anything go in. Okay, that's the first thing. All right, and it says what? Cast down what? Read that again.
It says, verse 4.
Read it again.
"For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through God to the pulling down of strongholds." And then it says in 5, "Casting down imagination and every high thing that exalted itself against the knowledge of God, and bringing into captivity every thought to the obedience of Christ."
Y'all hear it? Y'all hear it? Cast down those imagination. See, that's why it's vital that we have to make sure what we hear and what we listen to.
Exactly.
I know we didn't say this one before. Y'all probably getting tired of it, but it's the truth.
It is.
Okay, it is the truth.
Got to be careful what you're putting in into your temple,
because this stuff will get in your mind, and it constantly repeats it. It start repeating itself, and you start finding yourself repeating what you just heard. You just understand over and see it's working in you now. The seed is planted now. Okay, but the Bible says we're supposed to, when a thought come to your mind, he said cast it down.
You got to cast it down.
The thought that came to your mind. That's not the sin. The sin is when you hold on to the thought and you begin to act on the thought. That's the sin.
That's right.
The Bible just told us that. He said
you keep dwelling on it, and then you end up acting on it.
That's right. So the Bible lets us know that a thought may come. The flesh gonna bring a thought, but he said when it come, cast it down.
Cast it down. That's right.
Quickly. That's right.
Soon as it pop up.
That's right. So let's go to Daniel right quick first. Like, we're gonna read this story, we're gonna teach this, and we're gonna get on out of here. This all to do it right here, y'all. I mean, this story right here is very powerful. It's a good illustration of what Christians and how we should operate in this evil day. Because now you really gonna have to be real about your faith.
Exactly.
I mean, you can. It's gonna come a time that you gonna have to be real about your faith. Okay, because your faith gonna be tested. All our faith's gonna be tested. Okay, it's going to be tested. Daniel chapter 1. We'll go to Daniel chapter 1, starting at verse 8 and 9.
Okay.
We're going to deal with Daniel's request. Go ahead.
Okay. Daniel chapter 1, starting at verse 8.
Yeah, read that.
Excuse me. But Daniel purposed in his heart that he would not defile himself with a portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore he requested of the prince of the eunuch that he might not defile himself.
Okay, go ahead.
Now God had brought Daniel into favor and tender love with the prince of the eunuchs.
Okay, now let's go back and look at Daniel for a minute. This is how we should operate as Christians. The enemy gonna always try to get us to eat at his table. I mean, all the time, every day, he's gonna try to tempt you to come and sit down at my table and take some of this right here. Daniel said, but Daniel purposed in his heart, y'all hear it, that he would not defile himself. Okay, Because when we take on parts of evil things, we are defiling ourselves.
That's right.
He purposed in his heart. Then he said, with the portion of the king's meat, nor with the wine which he drank. Therefore, he requested of the prince of the eunuchs that he might not defile himself. Purpose, mindset. His motive was not to defile himself. He didn't want to defile himself because he was serving the living God.
That's right.
And this living God already told him how to operate. I can't eat this because these folk worship devils.
Yeah.
They sacrifice this stuff to
right.
the devils. And God told me don't fool with it.
That's right.
And that's what he did. He was obedient. He stood firm, okay, on his belief. Okay. Now, let's go on a little farther. Let's go over to Daniel chapter 3. Daniel chapter 3. Starting at verse 14.
Okay. Nebuchadnezzar spake and said unto them, Is it true, O Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Do not ye serve my gods, nor worship the golden image which I have set up?
Hold up for a minute. See, this is what society is trying to get Christians to do. The society is trying to get us to worship their God. This on an everyday basis, y'all. They're trying to get the Christians to come in and worship their God. Okay, the media, all of this, the government, all these are people that's been influenced by Satan, and they're trying to get the Christian to fall into the system, okay, and operate like they operate.
That's right.
Okay, this is what we're dealing with, church. Okay, go ahead.
Nebuchadnezzar spake. Okay,
14 through 25. Go ahead.
15.
Go ahead.
Now, if ye be ready, that at what time ye hear the sound of the cornet, the flute, the harp, the sackbut, psaltery, dulcimer, and all kinds of music, ye fall down and worship the image which I have made. Well, but if ye worship not, ye shall be cast the same hour into the midst of a burning fiery furnace. And who is that God that shall deliver you out of my hands? Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego answered and said to the king, O Nebuchadnezzar, we are not careful to answer thee in this matter. If it be so, our God whom we serve is able to deliver us from the burning fiery furnace, and he will deliver us out of thine hand, O king.
Listen, go ahead.
But if not, be it known unto thee, O king, that we will not serve thy gods, nor worship the golden image which thou hast set up.
Look, hold up. Listen at this, y'all. Listen at this. This is the type of stand that we got to stand. We got to stand for, church. This is the mindset we have to have. Listen to what they say. I told you our faith gonna be tested. You know, this is just an illustration. God brought the Old Testament and allowed us to read this to let us know we're gonna have to deal with the same thing. We're gonna be tested. Our faith gonna be tested. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
19.
Then Nebuchadnezzar, full of fury, and the form of his visage was changed against Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Therefore he spake and commanded that they should heat the furnace 7 times more than it was wont to be heated. And he commanded the most mighty men that were in his army to bind Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and to cast them into the burning fiery furnace. Then these men were bound in their coats, their hosen, and their hats, and their other garments, and were cast into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Therefore, because the king's commandment was urgent, and the furnace exceeding hot,
this is what happened. The
flame of the fire slew those men that took up Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And these 3 men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, fell down bound into the midst of the burning fiery furnace. Then Nebuchadnezzar the king was astonished, and rose up in haste, and spake, and said unto the counselors, Did not we cast 3 men bound into the midst of the fire? They answered and said unto the king, True, O king. He answered and said, Lo, I see 4 men loose, walking in the midst of the fire, and they have no hurt, and the form of the 4th is like the Son of God. Good Lord.
Y'all hear that?
Look at that.
Y'all hear that? Watch this. What's so important in this right here is that Even though, it's just like now, they're doing it now. I'm going to tell you one thing that they get, a law that they came up with now to try to get us to compromise our faith. We all know what the Bible said about our children. The Bible said that we're supposed to, first of all, he said, train up a child in the ways to go, right? Mm-hmm. And also, when you come down to discipline our children, he told us to do it with a rod, right? Mm-hmm. This is what the Bible tells us about our children. We're supposed to discipline our children, not abuse them. I said discipline. Mm-hmm. It's a difference between abusing your child and discipline. Them. You discipline your child, excuse me, with a belt. Mm-hmm. Y'all hear me? I'm not talking about in the face. I'm talking about on the butt only. That's how you discipline your child. Okay. Some children need that, and some children you can just talk to. Mm-hmm. And they good. But the point is this right here. They try to scare the Christian. This is all about the Christians. They had nothing to do with the word people of the word. It's all about the Christian. This thing was set up strictly for the Christian. They ain't gonna tell you, but that's what it was for. To keep us from disciplining our children the way God wants to discipline our children, so our children can go out, have a mindset like the world type of children. Because they don't get no discipline. Mm-hmm. And if you don't discipline your child, they're gonna be wild. Mm-hmm. It's just who child it is.
Exactly.
But you have to listen. But that's the whole point, was to take away the discipline in the home. Mm-hmm. So therefore they came for the law. Now children got a right now, if they think they being abused, notice what I said, think they being abused, and they mad at you, they can call 911, call the police on you.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
They hit me with that belt. Mm-hmm. That was set up to try to scare the Christians to keep us from disciplining our children in the home. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about right now. They constantly making up laws against us. Mm-hmm. Okay, against our biblical truth. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. We got to stand firm. We cannot allow the system to cause us to waver in what God has told us to do. Okay, good example. All right, here King got mad because they would not bow down and worship the God he has set the God he has set up. They refused to do it. Okay, they stood firm, no matter what it looked like. They said, don't make us no different. You can throw us in there, but we still not going to bow down and worship your God. It ain't finna happen. Okay. So this is a true illustration of standing firm. Okay. And we just want to encourage the Christians right now to be more, how can I say, more alert about what's going on. Not only in your community, but we got to be alert to what's going on around the world, because Satan is constantly setting up stuff on a daily basis to come against the Christians.
And a lot of us are asleep. Mm-hmm. A lot of us Christians are asleep.
That's right.
To the deceptiveness and things that Satan is doing.
That's right.
In this world. And
he's real slick. Another thing that they came up with, just talking right now, y'all, that they came up with, now the church, they came up with, the government came up with something now, what you call it, something about the taxes. I forgot what we call it, what do you call it? In other words, now you can file every year on the money you done paid to the church.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can file it on your taxes.
You can file it on your taxes. That's not God. God didn't tell us to do that. Where did it come from? The world. That's what I'm talking about. And a lot of churches have wavered and compromised, and they have fallen into that system. Okay, not knowing that what they're doing, they setting it up where the government can come in and then tell you what to preach.
Exactly.
All this is set up, y'all. They're doing it real slowly.
Yeah.
All this is set up. Now they're going to be able to dictate what you teach and what you preach. Because now you under their system. You done signed this, now you under their system. So this is what I'm talking about, Christian.
Exactly, especially when you get assistance from when the church is getting assistance from the government, like in running certain programs at the church. They're getting assistance and stuff. And so when you getting assistance from the government and things that you have, like the programs or whatever that you're doing at your church or whatever, they have the right to come in, and that's what they're going to do. Have the right to come in, tell you what to preach.
That's right.
And tell you what you can't preach about. That's and right. This and that. That's why a lot of churches, some churches, they going through, non-profit.
That's right.
and doing things on their own, so the government won't have anything to do with the church, so they can stay separated